gym. So you know what that means? It's time to make a video. All right, so I had a few questions. The question is, why don't you make tutorial videos, and why don't you have a favorite language or a favorite stack? And basically just like, why don't you love code? The reason is because I use code as a tool to build things and to solve problems. I enjoy it to an extent when I'm using it, when I'm building things. Like, I don't love it per se. The things that I love would be like aviation, being a pilot, or editing videos, learning special effects, figuring out how the Avengers added this portal effect. Code is just a nice way, it's a nice cool utility that I can use in my life to do things that I want, to build things that I want, and solve problems. Now I know that there are a whole lot of you out there learning to code for many different reasons. Maybe you've made it high up to your banking job and you're bored and you just need a change of pace. Maybe you're working at a job and you're making minimum wage and you want to learn how to code so you can lift yourself up into a better lifestyle and just make more money. Maybe you're a creative type and the work that you're doing at your current job doesn't matter. The work would go on if you were there or if you weren't there. And you want to build something that matters, that people use, and so you're learning how to code. Or maybe you're like me and you wanted to work remotely because you're that passionate about coming into an office that when you Googled remote jobs and digital nomad type jobs, the only thing you found were coding jobs. So you've learned how to code. Now when I go back and I think about it, I see a lot more of that, like people using code to generate income, to do things that they really love to do. People using it as a way to escape something, or people using it to build something that matters, but not a lot of people coding because they love the act of coding. I don't think most people will admit up front that's the case. You can get a conversation with them, most people are like, yeah, this would be chill as a job. I mean, if you gave me an option, I'd probably do something else, but you know, I could probably do this 40 hours a week and you know, that would be okay with me. It gives you money to do the things that you want, or you know, go wherever you want to go. Now, I'm not saying that those people that absolutely love code don't exist. I mean, I know that there are plenty of you guys out there that will sit and you'll refactor your code all day long and it will never be good enough. You'll talk about, you know, tabs or spaces, syntax preferences, library preferences, problems within your code, problems within the language that you're coding in. Love it. I'm sure that there are plenty. Like, I'm just not one of those people. For me, no greater feeling than when you write code without Googling it and then it runs the first time. But ultimately, using code was a way to build something or solve a problem. I'm more of like, I utilize this piece because I need to, because it was part of this greater thing that I needed to create about this application, but this application that I'm making also needs design and a bunch of other things and like traffic, and it just requires all these other skills, and code is just this one tiny little portion of it. So whenever I was at a job, I just couldn't commit to doing that one thing. My brain would wonder about like, well, how do you do the marketing stuff? Well, is this a good design? Because like I could code this all day, but if people aren't gonna be able to click here because of bad UX, like my brain would just wander. This is the main reason that I wanted to work at startups when I had a job, because when you get hired on as a startup, you might get hired as the title front-end developer. Hey, but today you're a social media manager, or tomorrow you're picking color palettes for their new webpage that they're gonna beta test for their investors. Like, you're open to taking the responsibility. Most of the time they're open to letting you do it. And then I would have those jobs where they wouldn't let you do anything else, and your job was to write PHP all day long. And that's it. You just did PHP and you FTP'd your files locally to their server. Congratulations, you're a developer. And I would get super complacent, because doing that for 9 hours a day, you get paid 8 hours, they don't pay your lunch, so you take an hour for lunch, now you have a 9-hour day, but you eat your lunch at your desk, and then if you try to take that hour and leave early, then they get mad at you anyways. In the end, I would get complacent with it. I couldn't just sit there and just do code all day, every day, when I know that there's 900 other things that I have an interest in. Sorry, Josh, you gotta wait until 6 o'clock to go home and spend your 4 hours of free time. I don't know, it just wasn't, I just didn't like it. There were some days where we would have meetings where we were gonna pick like the next tech stack that we were gonna do for our next sprint or whatever, and they would argue about it in emails and meetings and the stand-ups and the sprint reviews, and I never said anything. I would always just like sit back and just like, can we just pick something and like get shit done, please? By the time you guys pick a tech stack or a framework or a technology to go with, that technology is already gonna be changed and there's gonna be a new hotness. I'm more of the mindset of like, let's just get this done. Let's just make some progress. Let's not forget why we learned how to code. Let's not forget the problem or the thing that we're trying to build to create revenue or help someone's life. They weren't huge fans of that. give you a little bit of an example of what I mean here when I say that I use it to build things and create things. But I think it'd be really cool to grab an Arduino, figure out how to use that, learn C, I think it runs C, figure out how to put the gyroscope onto the drone, figure out how to write the code to measure that, and then create like a sensor that sends a signal to my drone so it flies up, and whenever like the mailman comes, it just follows the mailman. But like that's the thing, like that's the ultimate goal here would be to make a drone, not necessarily just to code it, just to code. It's because I want to do something fun with it. All right, I'll give you that. It was a little bit ridiculous of an example. Let me give you something a little bit more practical. I need an e-commerce solution, but I don't have the kind of budget for a Shopify or the knowledge right now or the really time to build this from like React.js. So I'm like, maybe I can get a WordPress. But that's not all there is to just creating a website and now you have a website. How do I drive traffic? How do I do it in a non-salesy kind of pushy way? How do I get better SEO? Well, I better learn how to do some copywriting. I should probably have an email list. So let me figure out what kind of plugins, or if I need to do that myself, and where I'm going to store that and what service I'm going to use for that. How can I automate this? What about tracking and analytics that I have to do? Do I need data science for my tracking and analytics to look at these patterns of people coming and going through my website? And as far as the design, I'm limited within the theme. Do I need to learn Photoshop? How about the UX of this theme? I'm limited to the interaction of the theme here. You guys get it, right? Like, there's a whole lot more to just making a website from scratch. There's so much more that goes into it, and like just making it from scratch is like a dev team's job. Code was just a portion of it. If you said, hey Josh, would you like to build this app from the ground up, or want to learn how to do these special effects of like Doctor Strange and figure out how to like teleport? I mean, the answer for me is I'm gonna go learn how to do those special effects. And I'm sure there are plenty of you guys out there that would do the same if I presented a choice like, all right, do you want to stay here at the office and build this app, or do you want to go learn how to surf in Hawaii? Well, yeah, that's an easy choice, Josh, but you can't make a living off surfing in Hawaii very easily. Figuring out how to monetize your passion is a different conversation and a different video that I'm willing to make, but the main point is that there are plenty of people that would rather do something else, and that's okay. That is a-okay. Don't even feel bad about it. Like, if you're in that slot and you're like, I kind of like code, but I'm just kind of like a job. I don't have this like forced artificial sense that you have to absolutely love coding all day, every day, 8 hours a day. There's more to life than code. I reiterate that in my streams. But then again, some of you are probably like, well, the answer is obvious, Josh. I would stay at the office and build that app all day long because sunlight is the enemy. But the thing with code is so much utility. There's so many ways to build a life with code, and that's what this channel is about. It's about building a life. You want to make a mobile app? You like iPads? You like playing games on your Android? You like PUBG Mobile? Great. Go learn code and learn how to make mobile apps. You want to work at Google because you believe in Google's mission to build state-of-the-art technology? Great. Here's what they look for. Here's how to get an interview. You want to be a freelancer? Well, I mean, here's a couple of frameworks that you could check out that could be fast and easy, but give the client what they want so you can move on and make more money. But at the initial start of each one of these, I guess, endeavors, you had a goal in mind, something you wanted to build, a problem that you wanted to solve, something that you wanted to improve. So the reason you built your mobile app in the first place is because you wanted to track your little brother's nutrients more conveniently on his phone, ultimately so he can have a better idea of his blood sugar levels since he's diabetic. That was the problem that needed solving, or the system that needed improving, and then code was the utility to get you there. It was the tool in the toolbox to help make this thing happen. Use it, leverage it, get yourself into a better life. Basically no reason not to learn it. I guess that's it. That's my rant on this topic. So I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.